What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, the Duke men's did have a pretty big time win against a rival this last weekend, but I'll talk about the women because they did accomplish something a little bit greater, in my opinion. So it was the ACC championship for the women's side already. Like I said, I don't know why it was starting like a week sooner than the men's. They're kind of usually around the same time because they play in different areas, but I guess this time they're playing in the same place. But luckily this time the women were able to defeat in their first game 61-48 against Louisville, which is one of those top teams in the nation. So that was great to see. And then they advanced to play against Notre Dame, who was like another top 5, top 10 team. And they took down the reigning ACC champions to secure a spot in the title game. They beat them 61-56. And with the win over number 2 Notre Dame in the conference, they advanced to the ACC championship game for the first time since 2017. And I believe this is the first time that they made the tournament a game with Coach Carl Lawson at the helm, which is great. And then in that final, they got NC State, as I mentioned, and they were able to defeat them 76-62. So that is your new 2025 ACC Women's Tournament champions. The most valuable player was from Duke as well. She had a big game in that final one, Aluchi Okanawa. Congrats to her. And then they also had a couple players, her, Okanawa, and Ashlyn Jackson make the first team when it comes to the all-tournament teams in the ACC, which was very cool to see. So congrats to the ladies. Yes, they were able to get high enough so they didn't have to play a certain amount of games. So they only had to win 3, and they won 3, especially against, like I said, NC State and Notre Dame were 2 ranked like top 10 teams nationally, and they were able to beat them back-to-back. So that was great. Hopefully they can continue it when it comes to their tournament whenever that comes up. I don't know if it's starting, because like I said, usually the main tournament, they would start like a week later. So there's a little bit of overlap, but nothing too crazy. So I don't know if they're going to be the ones starting a week early. I don't know. It's all a bit confusing right now. But either way, good luck to those Lady Blue Devils. And then an assistant coach on the men's side, Jai Lucas, was recently named the next head coach at Miami, which was kind of disappointing just a little bit because as of right now, it looks like he was going to leave as soon as possible. He luckily did stay for that North Carolina victory, as I'll get into. But I guess now he's going to have to leave and not be with the team during the ACC tournament run and then also the main March Madness tournament run. So kind of sucks you're losing your top assistant coach and recruiter / defensive coach. And now he's going to be coaching one of the teams in the conference next season. And he has to leave basically early because the transfer portal opens up like after that first week of the March Madness tournament. And I don't know why it does that, because they could literally wait till almost when the tournament is done, like around the championship game, to do that. So he could have stayed at least for the run to see how long Duke is going to be there. But I guess he has to go and recruit. They could kind of have a shake-up with the Boozer twins, who are committed to Duke because they were considering Miami as their other school basically, and they chose Duke. But now I don't know if Lucas was one of their top recruiters while at Duke, and then maybe he's going to now convince them to go and stay home over there. They did have a big weekend too. I think it's like they won 4 straight titles in high school, which is pretty amazing for anybody to do it. But that's pretty cool that 2 brothers were able to accomplish that in high school. So I would love them to still be on Duke, but maybe now Miami is in the running more than we thought. But when it came to a future matchup against Arkansas next season, they're apparently going to be playing on Thanksgiving, that Thursday, November 27th. So I guess Thanksgiving is around the 27th and not the 25th again. That's going to be on CBS, Paramount Plus, and all that, prime time at 5 o'clock on the West Coast. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. At least they'll get another marquee game. I don't know if that's going to be part of their SEC, ACC matchup, so they'll probably have to play another tough team because they would always play Kentucky, and then they played Auburn this year. So I wonder who they're going to end up getting if they still – I think they played Kentucky because of that conference tournament, whatever, that first one. So they switched between Kansas, Kentucky, and Michigan State, I believe. But yeah, I guess we'll find out who's in that tournament champions in the beginning of the season. So looking forward to that game during the holidays. And then they put out some of the defensive ratings for a lot of players in ACC, and Duke has about 4 or 5 guys at the top of the list. Cooper Flagg leads there. Number 2 is Maluach. 3 is Sion James. Number 5 is Con Knuppel, and number 7 is Tyrese Proctor. So yeah, that's basically why they are considered one of the top teams, not only in the ACC, but in the nation too, and they definitely proved it against their rival on the road at Chapel Hill this weekend, defeating their rivals in Carolina 82-69. It was pretty close throughout, but they were able to pull away in the end. Now they are the regular season ACC champs. Like I always say, there's like a regular season championship, like what USC won, but then they also ended up losing the final Big Ten championship on Sunday too. So I'll get into that in a separate video. But yeah, it's kind of weird how two teams can claim they are champions of a league in the same year, but it's different schematics or something like that. So I don't know. It's very confusing at times, but yes, keeping with Duke here, when it comes to Jon Scheyer, yes, the most wins in his first 3 seasons of an ACC head coach. He's now 2 wins above Bill Guthridge, who was a North Carolina coach, which is always great to see. And then Cooper Flagg is basically leading Duke in every major stat in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and minutes. And people are still kind of wondering if he could still be the first overall pick or if there's some other people who could be the player of the year. But it's obvious that they're now probably going to be the number 1 ranked team this week because Auburn, who was just ahead of them, lost this last weekend. So now he's part of the number 1 team, one of the top teams out there heading into the tournaments, and he's most likely going to be the first round pick too. So I don't know how he doesn't get the player of the year nomination, but we'll see. And then Jason Tatum, yes, he had a great game this last weekend. Sadly, it was against my LA Lakers, but yeah, it was a crazy rivalry weekend. USC men's played against UCLA and got throttled by them, so I'm not going to talk about them. The women's played UCLA in the span of like a week or so. So yeah, it's been crazy, especially that last Saturday. But when it came to his game, yeah, he had 40 points, 8 assists, 12 rebounds, so a near triple-double, threw in 2 steals and a block. It was kind of close towards the end, but Celtics were able to pull that one out because LeBron left with a strained groin, and then Luka was kind of off and on. So I'm glad the Lakers fought back, but yeah, of course, they ended up losing. So I guess it's like a seesaw effect. Tatum does good, but of course it's against my team. And the next Duke player, I believe, plays defensive back, Josh Blackwell, signed a 2-year extension with the Chicago Bears to stay with them. So congrats to him. And then a 4-star edge in the 2026 class, he's 6'4", 227, Rodney Dunham, set up a Duke official visit for June 6th to the 8th for the football team, which was great to see. So looking forward to that. Spencer Hubbard, apparently he ranked 7th in ACC in points / 40 minutes at 22 points / 40 minutes per game, which you still needed a minimum to score 10 points for that. So he's at least done that throughout the season. But yeah, he barely gets in with like a minute left at times, and he does score. But yeah, I wouldn't count this, but he's still like top 10, which is pretty crazy. And then Amina Vega was recently named like the number 1 second baseman according to Softball America, so congrats to her. And they had a pretty nice weekend against the Clemson Tigers. They defeated them 5-3 on one day, and then they defeated them 2-1 the next. So congrats. And then the Duke baseball team did win their series as well against Cal. They won 6-2 in one game, and then 7-3 in the other. And then when it came to men's lacrosse, the ACC Offensive Player of the Week, Ben Johnston of the midfield, was named it, and they defeated Air Force 16-11. Their head coach now has 478 wins, which is second most all time in NCAA men's lacrosse history. So John Danowski, congratulations. And the Tawarton Award watch list named Carly Bernstein of the Duke women's lacrosse team. So congrats to her. They did have an upset victory against number 7 Clemson, 12-11 the other day. So congrats to them. And then yes, the Duke men's tennis team head coach did reach 300 wins. So congrats to him. And yeah, there was a fun quote that Coach K used to always have when they were on the road and defeating teams by a bit. And he would say, "I just want you to look in the stands. Those mother effers are leaving." So, of course, they would leave early when they would end up blowing them out on the road, or they would know an upset victory is coming in that process. So, yeah, it was always great to see. And it was always funny, like, how much of a competitor and, like, how much of a crazy competitor he is. And when you heard him talk, it's like, yeah, you can hear the coach speak, but like, behind the scenes, he was probably pretty insane, like a general. So that was pretty cool. That's why he was one of the more successful basketball coaches in NCAA history. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go, Duke!